Hello. Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, we are live now.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Smita, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you start?
So good to start?
Yes, ma'am.
Namaste and welcome all for National Virtual Seminar on Adolescence and Youth Well-Being in Post-Pandemic Scenario. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacha Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyayakena Yopakarotam Pravinam Muninam Patanjalim Pranjalim Ranatosmi. I praise Sage Patanjali, who gave us the science of yoga to purify our mind and consciousness. He gave us the gift of medicine so that we could remove the impurities of the body. Dear Lord, I bow down with folded hands in reverence of Lord Patanjali. Let us start with seeking blessings from Almighty. On behalf of Harvey College of Engineering, I, Professor Smita, thank you each and everyone for you being here with us today. Physical education is an integral part of educational program designed to promote the optimum development of an individual physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, and spiritually. RV College of Engineering has adequate infrastructure facilities for sports. To spot and groom the sports talent, to foster better human being relationships through sports and games. Ever since the establishment, the sports department has produced many national and international level players. To name a few, Padma Shri awardee Anil Kumble, Indian cricket team player, Arjuna awardee Chetan Babur, international table tennis player, Ekalavya awardee Ms. Pooja Alva, Arvind Mani, international swimmers, Mr. Vinay Antonio, Mr. Girish Kaushik, international chess players, and many more to go. Department of Sports has been responsible for instituting a good sports culture in college. Every year, college organizes many invitational and university events in the college campus. May I now request Major Raghavendra C., Senior Manager, Estate and Facility, RV College of Engineering, Bengaluru, to welcome the gathering.
Health, as it says, maybe physical or mental, is the more prominent in each and every individual's life for his success, for his development, and his progress. Having said this, it's my privilege and opportunity to welcome all the dignitaries for today's National Virtual Seminar on behalf of the Principal, RV College of Engineering, the Faculty of Sports, RV College of Engineering.
Yes, sir.
I take the privilege of welcoming you all for this National Virtual Seminar, Adolescence and Youth Well-Being in the Post-Pandemic Scenario. Today's speakers of the day, I take the privilege of welcoming our beloved Dr. B.G. Sudarshan, Associate Professor, Medical Officer of RV College of Engineering, Bengaluru. I am privileged to welcome our main speaker today, Dr. T.H. Anjanappa, the surgical gastroenterologist, General Surgeon, Bengaluru. A hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
An immense learning and understanding and in complete assimilation of facts for well-being of both mind and also the physical strength. We would be eager to hear and take away the valuable healthy points. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, Major Raghavendra, sir.
Ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your graceful welcome. It's time to listen to our keynote speaker, Dr. B.G. Sudarshan, Medical Officer, RV College of Engineering. May I request Mrs. Meenakshi Mutalik Desai to introduce the keynote speaker. Meenakshi ma'am, you're on mute.
Good evening, everyone. It is my proud privilege to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. Sudarshan BG, to the National Virtual Seminar. Dr. Sudarshan BG is an associate professor in the Department of Electronics and Instrumentation and medical officer in RV College of Engineering, obtained MBBS degree from SSMC and PhD in biomedical engineering from Avinash Lingam University, Coimbatore. He has 15 years of clinical practice, teaching and research experience, has founded research projects from government agencies such as BPR and DUGC and various organizations, has one founded project from DSIR, which is in progress. Dr. Sudarshan has published 26 research papers in national and international journals and 2 published patents with one on the verge of commercialization. He has also served BMS Hospital as GC member and trustee. He is presently guiding 2 PhD students and 2 have been awarded PhD. It is indeed our proud privilege that we have with us a warm welcome to our today's program. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenakshi Madam, for the brief introduction.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes,
sir.
sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam. So the present topic is adolescents and youth well-being in post-pandemic scenario. Is very relevant for the present context. The pandemic has affected the health of all the age groups, but the most affected in particular are the adolescents and the youth. And India tops the list of the young people or the youth with 356 million young people in the country, and it is the world's largest youth population. So the impact of this pandemic can be measured with 350 million youth people and nearly 50% of them getting the results of this post-pandemic. So in order to understand what is the effect, we have to know the basic definition of health given by WHO, which states that health is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and just not free from illness. In the post-pandemic scenario, all the 3 are affected. That is, the physical health and the mental health and the social well-being of an individual is affected. So health affected, it needs retrospection and correction. And so the topic what we have selected for today is very apt in the present scenario, that is the COVID-19, where the first wave and second wave has devastating spells on the youth and adolescents group of this country. So the common ways of preventing the spread of the disease, that is the social distancing, confinement, and social isolation, has left a lot of mental and physical distress for the youth and the adolescent people. So who are adolescents and youth? So what I thought in particular was, I did not want to mix up both adolescents and youth. The adolescents they're from a different age group and the youth are from a different age group. The adolescents are between the age group of 10 to 19 years and youth are between the age group of 15 to 24 years, according to WHO. And the National Health Policy considers for our country till 29 years as youth. So I just thought of addressing the problem separately in adolescents and youth. So first we will start with the adolescent problems. So that is in the age group of 10 to 19 years. The greatest impact felt by the adolescents are from the closure of schools. As we all know, it is from the closure of schools. Being in the house with family and not getting to see friends and peers is a very big problem. Adolescents have developmental issues than the adults, and teenagers are at a different stage in life where they have to be very much invested in social connections and not just to be confined at home. So COVID-19 social distancing requirements have a different emotional impact on them than the adults. Two of the developmental tasks of adolescents are what they require for adolescents is to develop the social skills and empathy and a sense of identity. Both of these tasks happen through interactions with peers. Disconnection from the social outlets and peers will have social implications when they return to the social settings such as the schools. So schools are much more than a place for developing educational content. And I think in the present scenario, we have to recognize that students will come back with not only with educational setbacks, but also setbacks in their social and emotional skills. So what are the measures as a doctor I would suggest, and also working in the institution for nearly 15 to 17 years? The reassurance about the severity of the disease has to be given to the children, that they should not be afraid of the disease, as it is not as severe as it appears in the adults with comorbidities. And helping adolescents develop a consistent schedule is very important. What do we mean by consistent schedule? They should get up at the regular time what they were going to school, do the homework as per schedule, and participate in distance learning as well as in learning programs, even at least for a short amount of time. A routine should help young people to feel they are grounded and reduce the stress to some extent. For those students who are accessible to internet and technology, they should meet friends through virtual platform and stay in touch and have social connections, and this may further reduce their stress. So this is about the adolescents part, but youth have a different problems facing in the post COVID scenario. So what are the youth? We are considering them in the age group of 15 to 29 years. The employability and disposable income is a very big problem. What do you mean by employability? According to the WHO and the national statistics, the temporary employment sectors are give job to the youth in the age group of 15 to 29 years, and they have lost jobs in the pandemic. And post-pandemic also, the requirement of the people in the jobs is very less. So they are losing their jobs, and the poverty levels have started to rise, and it has led to mental stress for the people working community. And what is disruptions in access to education is another big problem. With the closure of the universities and schools, it has affected nearly 1.5 billion children and youth worldwide, and significantly it has changed how youth and children live and learn during the pandemic. In the recent, I think a day before yesterday, after the schools have been started, the 9th and 10th and 11th, 12th has been started, 8th, 9th standards has been started. But the major problem what they face is that they do not, that 50%, nearly 25% of the children are not coming back to school. They are not coming back to school because of they have already left, they are not in touch with the schools, and they doesn't have the inclination to again come back and study. And because of the poverty levels, they have already joined some different jobs where their parents doesn't want them to leave the school and come back and restart the learning process. So a study across 59 countries demonstrated that although most countries put in place alternative learning opportunities, that is the virtual platforms what we are using now, only just 50% of the students are able to access it and complete the curriculum and to stay in touch with the curriculum. In contrast to the school closures, the quality of the home environment also has a very important role. A digital divide in connectivity and access to electronic devices risks further amplifying inequalities among young people during the pandemic. For instance, students from less well-off families are less likely to have access to digital learning resources and parental support for home learning. So what is the impact? Lack of physical learning opportunities and economic distress are increasing the risk of disengagement and dropout from the schools, as I already mentioned. So apart from this, the lack of education and also the lack of jobs has put a toll on their mental health. So there are significant psychological impacts of social distancing and quarantine measures on young people, causing distress, anxiety, and loneliness. This is also affirmed by the findings of the studies conducted in US and UK, and showing that young adults experience higher level of distress compared to the adults. Evidence from previous pandemics suggests that exposure to domestic violence has also increased during the pandemic, and post-pandemic also there is a lot of domestic problems. One such example arises from the Ebola virus, which break down in 2014, and which required severe quarantine measures. The domestic violence, it increased to nearly around 50%. And even the domestic violence during the present pandemic has also increased nearly 70 to 80%, according to the European Union and the WHO. And the closure of schools also affects the students' mental well-being. As teachers and classmates, they provide social and emotional support, and educational professionals also play an important role in helping and detecting the abuse against children. And in addition, the important thing is the postponement of the SSLC, PUC, or the exams or cancellations of the exams around the world has led to uncertainty, anxiety, and distress among the students. So, how can we try to mitigate this? How can we try to counter this in the post-pandemic scenario? The NGOs and the governments have provided, and what are the actions which have been initiated and disseminated practical advice for parents as well as children and younger people, and how to cope at home and during the confinement. The government has also provided information, videos, trainings, and webinars to keep youth active at home. And they have tried to mobilize youth and volunteers and youth workers. But what problem we are facing is the emotional or the counselors availability and the support when such a huge population is required. Earlier, during one of my studies in Bureau of Police Research and Development, the police also were working in under severe stress, and what we suggested to them was to have a MOU with NIMANS and develop counselors within the police stations, and that has worked very well, and throughout the country they are using this proposal. So in such a way, we should also have some MOUs, or the trainer should go to the educational institutions, get themselves trained, and then come back, and every school or a university should have such counselors to mitigate this problem. So this is one of my suggestions as a healthcare professional and a professor. And even in the post-pandemic, I have seen many of the health problems. The youths are suffering from early onset of diabetes, hypertension, and I've even seen many cases of morbid obesity owing to work from home. So this has to be countered. And how to counter this is have regular health checkups, monitor them, and have a platform wherein they can come and discuss. And there are different initiatives which have to be taken up, and one such initiative is the Doctors at Your Doorstep, which was initiated by the BBMP. So if many such programs has to be conducted, and I think that may yield some results. Even in RVC Health, RVC hospitals, we did the post-COVID checkups, and we found out nearly post-COVID, they had at least 20 to 30% had newer onset of diabetes and hypertension, which is a very high number compared to the population what we have studied. So I think there is a lot of retrospection and needs to be done regarding the COVID post-pandemic scenario. And all the stakeholders, that is the government, the educational institutions, the parents, and the public have to come together. And we have nearly lost 1 year, 8 months, or we don't know when the other next wave strikes us. So we have nearly lost 2 years, and how the youngsters and the adolescents or the youth has to cope up with such an environment. All the stakeholders should come together, and they should help in lifting up this back to the normal level. And this is my opinion. And I would like to invite our beloved Dr. Anjanappa, who is a very good speaker, with more thoughts for this problem, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Uncertainty is only certainty. Psychology in this situation and discussing such events, scenarios would definitely help us to cope up the future life. Thank you, Sudarshan sir, for discussing all such events and bringing before us. Also
Thank you,
here, I wanted to thank Dr. Sudarshan, who is a man with high values. He was a person who stood for all the staff of RV College of Engineering during pandemic round the clock. We in RV College are around 1,000 people, and sir assisted us in all aspects of medical assistance in any possible ways. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all your surveys.
No, madam. I have done my duty. It is my duty, madam, for all the service and what the institution has given to me. And you're all not my patients. You're all my family members.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So I request Professor Chaitra, Assistant Professor, CS Department, RV College of Engineering, to introduce the speaker, Dr. T.H. Anjanappa, Surgical Gynecologist, General Surgeon, Bengaluru.
Good evening, everyone. It's both honor and privilege to be able to introduce and welcome our guest of honor, Dr. T.H. Anjanappa. This man merely requires any introduction, though he is well known for his work in the field of medical sciences. Dr. T.H. Anjanappa, a renowned surgical gastroenterologist, was born in the year 1955. He completed his MBBS from Vijayanagara Institute of Medical Sciences, Bellary, in the year 1973, and pursued his Master's in General Surgery from Karnataka Institute of Medical Sciences, Hubli, in the year 1983. He got his fellowship of IMA Academy of Medical Specialties in 1983 and fellowship of International College of Surgeons in 1996 and executive MBA in 2010. He has more than 40 years of experience in teaching. To name a few, he was a professor at KIMS, professor at Surgery PES, professor and head Emergency Medicines PES, Dean and Principal, Sambram Institute of Medical Sciences, Professor and Head of Surgery, Sambram Institute of Medical Sciences, Professor Surgery, Akash Institute of Medical Sciences, and many more. His experiences in general and laparoscopic surgery is quite big in number. He has served at many hospitals. He is a member of Indian Medical Association and Surgical Society. He's been working as a president at Chinmaya Seva Sangha. He's a member at Samaja Samparka Vedike. He's a chairman at Karnataka Cancer Society. He's a member for Red Cross Society, Lions, and Rotary. He's conducted more than 1,500 free health checkup camps. He has delivered more than 1,000 health-oriented lectures in various schools and colleges. And he has participated in more than 10 TV channel programs and radio programs. His special achievements, it's quite big. So to mention a few, he has conducted more than 30,000 surgeries in a span of 35 years and a record with 10 major operations in a single night on Sunday at Bowring and Lady Curzon Hospital. That is during 1987. And he's removed a 23 kg tumor from the abdomen of a 50-year-old lady. So he has received many awards, and to mention a few out of many awards received, Best Teacher Award, Best Surgeon Award, Best Paper Award in the World Conference, London, 1994, prestigious Kempe Gowda Award from BBMP in 2012, very prestigious Dr. B.C. Roy Award in the year 2014, and Karnataka Rajyotsava Award in 2019. He's traveled all over the world and almost all universities in South India. And he has given around 300 guest lectures across the world. He's conducted many workshops and has also published many papers at national and international conferences. So to mention a few, I could say, a paper on enterogenous scent missile injuries at ICS Conference London in the year 1994, and GIT foreign bodies at Asia Pacific Conference Kuala Lumpur in the year 1996. And he has also published many papers in national and international journals. So now I request Dr. T.H. Anjanappa to address the session regarding the current pandemic, especially for adolescents and youth. Thank you so much.
So nice of you, Madam Dr. Chaitra.
Thank
It's
you,
my
sir.
proud privilege to listen to you about my own achievements. Madam, can I start, Meenakshi, Madam?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
can kindly
Thank
start.
you so much, sir.
Thanks to Professor Smita, Madam.
Thank you, sir.
What a wonderful way of starting the program. So it's such a wonderful slogan. Madam, my sincere thanks to Meenakshi, Madam, who invited me to be the speaker for this prestigious national virtual seminar in a very prestigious institution, RV College of Engineering. I always feel very proud whenever I take the name of RV Engineering College. In fact, I was an engineering student in for nearly 4 months before joining medicine in UVC, University Visvesvaraya Engineering College. I should have become an engineer in the year 1973. Good luck or bad luck, I don't know. I became a doctor. I'm audible, ma? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You're
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're audible, sir.
Yes. And this, and again, I felt extremely happy to see that such a reputed doctor is there as a faculty in your campus, taking care of all the members. And he made my job very, very easy. Thanks to PG Sudarshan. He was so nice. He covered most of the topics. So my job has become very simple. I'm being a very senior person by age and being a teacher in a medical college for the past 35 years. I'm going to speak few words and I will make it an interactive session later. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions from these youngsters regarding this COVID. And I think that will be a better way to end the day today, taking questions from them. And basically, I'm a humor speaker. You will be surprised to know surgeons are always serious. But somehow, I was chairman of nearly 8,000 surgeons of Karnataka state chapter. Being a chairman, I go to various institutions and give a lot of talks, humor talks, particularly in my mother tongue, Kannada. Anyway, today, since this is a national seminar, I'll stick on to my speech in English only. Otherwise, once I went to Maharani's College 15 years back to give a talk. It was a real session, not virtual. It was on H1N1. In fact, being in Bangalore, a Kannadiga, there were nearly 3,500 young students, all girls in Maharani's College. In the beginning only, I asked them, Amma, Kannadadalli matadlo, English nal matadlo. One girl got up and said, Sir, eradu mix madodiri sir anta. I think I felt that is the best way to communicate our thoughts to youngsters. But today, being a very serious topic, it's a good topic, adolescent and youth well-being in post-pandemic scenario, that too from the sports department. I must really appreciate the faculty and AW department of this department for taking such an important topic. So, well-being, and believe me, is the first pandemic I have seen in 40 years. There are many terminologies in medicine: sporadic, endemic, epidemic, and a pandemic. These pandemic diseases, they come once in 30 to 40 years. So this is the first pandemic I have seen. So everybody should know a pandemic is a communicable disease that starts in one part of the globe and it can spread to many countries. As it has happened now, it has gone to 220 countries in the world, 224 countries in the world. So this pandemic disease started by a virus. And all of you know, by this time, we are already entering the third phase of this COVID-19. COVID-19 got its name because this disease started in the year 2019 at China, Wuhan city. Of course, came to India in 2020 March. First case was reported in Gulbarga. And as Sudarshan rightly mentioned, particularly during second wave, we saw a lot of youngsters dying because of COVID. A fellow who is supposed to get married tomorrow, fellow who got married today, and such young fellows, they died in front of our eyes. It was really scary all over the world. This one small virus, not having its own cell, a virus, a particle, a living particle, least living particle, and that particle has to survive. To survive, it has to depend on a living cell, either of a bird, it becomes a bird flu, or of an animal, it becomes swine flu, or human. It has to enter a living cell for its survival and its multiplication. And such a small virus, it created havoc in the entire world, starting from all developed countries also. So this well-being post-pandemic scenario, but actually we are not yet in a post-pandemic scenario. We are facing the third wave. But as Dr. Sudarshan rightly mentioned, what are all the problems we faced with the disease and following the disease? And this is very, very important. This was not a very scary disease to believe, because every year we see 4.5 lakh people dying of tuberculosis in this country even today. And the death rate, if 100 people, they get myocardial infarction, heart attack, 10 people will die. So compared to that, this death rate was less than 2.5%. But unfortunately, those who are dear to us, they were working with us. When they died, it became really panicky. So what is this well-being? Well-being is good health as well as its appreciation and enjoyment. And wellness is more than a lack of disease symptoms. As WHO definition, Dr. Sudarshan has mentioned already, it's a state of mental, physical, and social well-being and psychological well-being. So all these things are important. And particularly why we concentrated on these two groups, adolescents, and as he rightly said, between 10 to 19 years, and the youth. They have got their own specific health problems. But actually, coming to overall general health, there is a saying in Kannada. I come from a village near Dodballapur. That's why I keep on quoting many quotes from senior peoples, elderly peoples, wise people. ಈ ವಯಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ಲು ತಿಂದ್ರು ಕರಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ವಯಸ್ಸು ಅಂತಾರೆ. Means I keep on telling whenever I go to colleges to address the students as a chairman of Karnataka Cancer Society, I have told many a number of times, you should be lucky because this is a very prime age. You don't get any disease other than running nose, common cold that used to be caused by a virus called Coryza virus. And this coronavirus belongs to one of the group of Coryza, means upper respiratory virus. But unfortunately, this created some problems. It went up to death. And luckily, many recovered from this disorder. In fact, in one of the Kannada channel, Suvarna News, when I was on a live discussion, the moderator, she asked me, Doctor, we see so much of death in European and American countries, particularly it was during the end of first wave or beginning of the second wave. Why that kind of a death we are not seeing in our country, particularly India? I just quoted, pardon me for using some Kannada slogans in between. I will translate it also. I said on that day, Nodama, Kannadadalli there is a saying, Bidi maklu belkondodo, kone maklu palskondodo. The meaning of that sentence is, we are street peoples. Most of us know we are exposed to these kind of viruses because we are not living in a highly protected atmosphere. We go to fields, we drink water there, unprotected water. Most of the villages, they are exposed to these kind of viruses and they develop a natural resistance. And I think today or yesterday you must have seen in one of the paper, the natural resistance is much more important than the resistance what you develop after taking a vaccine. That's really true. So these fellows, particularly Indian youngsters, we were all exposed to these viruses very early. And added to that, the best thing was BCG vaccination. Most of us had a BCG vaccine. I think our country, except in addition, one or two, Bangla or Pakistan, no other country they have given vaccination, particular BCG. Some of these things came to our rescue. That's why many of our youths, percentage-wise, they did not suffer from this. But post-COVID, I don't know whether to use this post-COVID. Again, in the course of speaking, I think I had to quote the lady from WHO. The other day she was mentioning this pandemic disease has become an endemic disease now. In the sense, we don't know how many more waves we are going to get. Our previous experience, the previous pandemic disease, that is influenza, that was in 1959. There, the second wave took a lot of lives. But this particular corona, COVID-19, we are learning many lessons as professional peoples. We have never heard of a third wave or a fourth wave, and we are not sure how many waves are going to come. And this particular third wave, there is a Delta virus. There are variants of Delta virus. All of you must have already heard about A1, A4, A7. So many mutations are happening. And this particular virus is known to mutate. It's a birth property of this virus. Birth nature, birth character, mutation. Rupantara Gondanta virus. In Kannada, they keep on telling. So it keeps on mutating. And that's why it is very difficult to answer public questions. Doctor, when are we going to see the end of this disease? Are we able to celebrate Lord Ganesha festival? We did not celebrate. This Ganesha festival, it is a festival of youths. Moju Masti, they wanted to enjoy. Unfortunately, they could not do. Of course, education-wise, he has already rightly mentioned how our children, they have missed the most important aspect of their life, attending to classes, listening to teachers, spending time with friends, a lot of psychological problems. They have gone into such kind of depressions because they lost social life. That's why I went on telling many a number of times, Jivano Mukhya, Jivnanu Mukhya, in the sense, life is also important, livelihood also important. That's why this particular word, it is no more a pandemic, it is an endemic disease. Endemic, again, to make it more simple for those non-medical people who are listening to me, if you go to Coorg, you see a lot of people with thyroid swelling. We call it as goiter. Goiter is an endemic disease in Coorg and Himalayan belt because where iodine deficiency is there in Illy region, we call them as endemic disease. Means it is going to stay with them. They learn to live with that. The same thing is happening now. This pandemic disease has become an endemic disease. That means to say, kindly learn to live with this virus very carefully. Never forget the SMS, social distancing, hand washing, and wearing a mask. It should become part of your life. You have to go to college and school. You have to attend to all your activities. You have to have social activities, provided you follow all these things. That is very, very important. And I kept on telling, and in fact, I brought it to the notice of the government also. Please don't compare schools and colleges to MOPS. MOPS are different. They are really disciplined institutions during this pandemic situation is schools and colleges. I always said, don't compare gym to a bar. Don't compare schools and college to some annually meetings, political meetings. But unfortunately, that happened. And always I went on telling, you should have a scientific temperament. Everybody should have Vaiknanika Manobhavaniyan Bedespoli. That's what I went on telling you, common people. You must have a scientific temperament so that you can live with this virus. And coming to some of the few specific health hazards following this COVID, those who recovered, unfortunately, those who died, and I went on telling it is not because of the virus. virus was only an initiator. Unfortunately, they died because of our lack of services, either from the government side or from health side, when they did not get a ICU bed right in time, when they did not attend to the hospital at right time, the young peoples died. Unfortunately, when we lost a young orthopedic surgeon, 39-year-old, he was at home, he was positive. Being a doctor, he could not get his treatment properly. He was running from pillar to post, from hospital to hospital, ultimately died. When we think of such situations, we really feel sad why such things happened. And particularly those who recovered from COVID, those who were affected by this disease, and the death was mainly due to inadequate service. That's what I said. Because this virus, unfortunately, we can prevent, but there is no treatment in any pathy, either allopathy, Ayurveda, homeopathy, naturopathy, Tirupati. Wherever you go, there is no antiviral drug. Everybody went on confusing the people, not giving proper information. And that's where I think Dr. Sudarshan is being appreciated by your college people. He must have really taken care of all of you. That's why I think that such things should be scientifically, in a scientific world, we must appreciate such moves. So those who recovered from COVID, they had few specific problems, particularly depression, psychosis. And in fact, believe me, I'm not a youngster, I'm not a youth, though my mentality, my enthusiasm is like that of a youth. I recovered from COVID when during first wave. After that, I had some kind of I was a very bold fellow, but somehow I used to get in the evening some kind of a depression. I have a depression in the sense, I used to imagine myself some kind of a suffocation. Suppose if I am traveling in a air-conditioned bus or in a flight to America, I may get suffocated. That kind of a feeling I used to get. So immediately I called my friend, Dr. Jagdish, from Abhaya Hospital, one of the good top psychiatrists. He said, Dr. Anjanappa, you must know, being a doctor, you are a right person. You have called me. 3 to 5% of the people who recovered from COVID, they have got this kind of a psychological problem. And he prescribed a tablet to me. After taking the tablet, I'm comfortable and perfectly all right. Why I'm bringing it to this notice is never have a self-medication, never have a self-diagnosis. Another most important, being a surgical gastroenterologist, I gave a talk on post-COVID complications. One of the worst complications, I'm getting calls from all over the state, is gastritis. Many people who recovered from this COVID-19, either because of anxiety, they are getting severe gastritis. For gastritis, even otherwise, I went on telling, who gets a gastritis? What is gastritis? It is some kind of a burning sensation in your stomach, upper abdomen, retrosternal, a burning in chest and watering of the mouth, some kind of a discomfort, difficulty to breathe. Some people, they feel as if the left side of the chest, they have got a chest pain, heart attack, this kind of, for that, the simplest explanation was given is hurry, worry, curry. Who gets gastritis? It is hurry, worry, curry. All three are there in a post-COVID patient who recovered from this. And as rightly said, unfortunately, these youngsters, they should be in the sports ground. They should be outside the house. They were kept in the house. They are really, they became, they went into, that is one of the reasons for depression. So all these things added to their suffering. But one particular thing I want to address, since there are many girls, adolescent boys, and youth, they are listening to me many a number of time. One particular aspect nobody would like to touch or address. It becomes something, everybody hesitate to address. many they address to, they hesitate to talk about it. In fact, I have got a book written by Dr. C.R. Chandrasekhar in front of me. Hadi ಅರೆಯದ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಿಭಾಯಿಸುವುದು ಹೇಗೆ, how to come across or how to overcome some of the problems of this youth. One among them is depression, not only inferiority complex. I don't know, directly it may not be related to post-COVID, but one real problem that is related to this youth all the time is their interest in sexual activities. I don't know whether I should bring it at this stage or not. And particularly, I have seen many good students, they go to depression during examination time. Their performance will come down. That is because of one sexual thing which I have to mention, because no teacher, neither parents, they guide them. That is masturbation. I don't know whether it's appropriate to mention. I'll just make a mention. I'll take back later. 99% of boys, 33% of girls, they will have this. In fact, that was a topic in my third MBBS subject. I've got a forensic medicine. In that, this topic comes. In fact, this topic is never talked about anywhere. A good student who was a ranked student, unfortunately, as a part of his sexual development, when he becomes adolescent, and he will, without his knowledge, he will have an ambition, or sometimes he gets into that kind of an habit, and unfortunately, he gets into a myth that 1 drop of semen is equivalent to 20 drops of blood. And unfortunately, without his knowledge, that is a physiological event that occurs, and nobody addresses this, and they go into depression. And my professor, I always remember Thangavelu, my forensic professor, when he came to our class to take a class on this, he was so nice to make us understand. We were like that, coming from PUC to first MBBS. Our knowledge was also like that as far as medicine is concerned. He made one beautiful statement. If somebody says he has not masturbated, either he must be God or he must be a terrible liar. I don't know how appropriate all of you are listening to me, or whether appropriate at the, because I wanted to have a forum to take this topic, because kindly, all of you should know this is a physiological event. 1 drop of semen is not equivalent to 20 drops of this one. And within limits, this is permitted. If somebody gets into depression, kindly consult a qualified doctor like me or like Sudarshan or anybody for that matter. Kindly don't go to a quack who puts up a board. I particularly want to bring it to the notice of these youngsters. I will not extend my talk on that. I will come back. So particularly, see, your aim at this stage is to, education is the priority. You have to get a good degree, you have to get good marks, and your concentration, lack of concentration, so many disturbances, all these things are part of post-pandemic scenario, because your life was going in a different way when you were attending your classes, going to library, discussing with your friends, going to your teacher, clarifying your doubts. All these things have suffered. There is a setback in the last 18 months. I think that is also one of the important aspects. We have to look into these children when they come back. I don't know, already 9th, 10th and PUC classes have started. Degree classes are all, and this online teaching, as far as our country is concerned, there are a lot of problems, and parents have expressed about this. Children have expressed about the problems with this online teaching and all those things. And keeping all those things in mind, I think it is high time that that particular word, what I said, we must learn to live with this endemic disease. This is a viral disease, and death rate is less than 2.5%. And if you take all the 3 precautions properly, it will not spread from person to person. And it is not that difficult to follow. This is not a rocket science. Whenever we keep on telling, but unfortunately, some of the media, they use some terminologies which are not scientific terminologies. Marana Mrudangavannu Barisitu, Ranakekenu Akitu, all these kind of words, they should never be used. Whenever we speak scientific topics, it should be scientifically, it should be expressed. And it is our responsibility to see that even a common man, a layman, should understand science in a scientific manner. I think that's what I did in most of the channel, in my live webinars, and most of the things I went on telling a common people about this particular. I think today many people, they love me because I come from a village background. I come from a small village near Dodbalapur, being a professor in a medical college with medical knowledge and with the background of a village, a born and village where I have grown up, where I have studied up to 10th standard in Kannada medium. I was able to convey these things to a common man. Today, I'm lucky. I'm addressing the elite people from Army college, both faculty and students. And I think now the time is 7:20. With permission of Madam Smita, if there are any specific questions, because most of the things, half of it was covered by Dr. Sudarshan. Few things are covered by me. I'm sure there will be a lot of interesting questions. I think we will be able to take up those questions from the audience. And I think with your permission, shall we go ahead, Madam?
Yes, sir. So I'm just checking for the questions. Meenakshi ma'am, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Or any other specific
Yeah.
topic I should talk? You can
Sir,
give me an idea.
So there's one question. So students wanted to know, wanted to know if, they get COVID during their class, time. So how is that? It's only after 3 days they get to know about their positiveness or the, the symptoms of it. So how do they manage this?
See, in this viral disease, there are 3 stages. One is incubation period. You may get the virus through your nose or throat. It will stay there. That we call it as an incubation period. At that time, you will not spread this virus to anybody. But of course, universal precaution, you should wear a mask. You should keep a distance when you are standing opposite to each other, because these droplets, they travel for 3 feet. And when you become infective, the next stage, this virus enters from your nose and throat, it enters to the lungs. Alveolar cell is there. See, this virus has to enter a cell to multiply, and then that person becomes infective. At that stage, if he coughs or sneezes, you'll be able to infect the other person. So be careful, follow the instruction. Once you develop fever, know that there are symptoms. I'm sure there are many asymptomatic persons also, they can spread. But today we are very, very clear. All of us should wear a mask. That prevents droplet, and this virus remains in the droplet. And believe me, virus will not fly in the air. It's all myths. That will not spread like that. It is a droplet infection. Kindly wear a mask and always use hand sanitizer. Wash your hand the moment you leave the institution or before you enter the home. I think that will take care. And for your symptoms, kindly take the treatment from a qualified doctor.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So I think the same holds good, because there was one more question. What can we as students ensure that we stay healthy while practicing sports? I think it's the same. It should be the same answer.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is very important, So everybody knows the importance of sports. See, exercise. See, for health, always diet and exercise. Judicious and balanced diet and exercise. So particularly aerobic exercises Even yoga itself is a good exercise, they say, to keep a healthy mind in a healthy body. That's why sports should be part of every one period should be there, starting from lower LKG to degree. Definitely, this keeps, see, you got 566 muscles in your body. You got 206 bones in your body. So if you do exercise, you will have a good biceps, you will have a good triceps. And if you want to make a six-pack body, you can go to gym. Definitely exercise is important in anybody's health and wealth.
So there was
Sir?
one more question.
Yeah.
What
Sir.
can we do to make studies more interesting? Because psychologically, the students would be a little low, as you
Yeah.
said. So
Yeah.
what can we make studies more interesting to them?
Somebody asked me, they asked me in Kannada, Doctor, ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಓದ್ತಾಳೆ, ಓದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮರ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾಳೆ, ಓದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ನೆನಪುಳಿ ಅಂತ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? Their question was, is there any tonic you can prescribe to see that whatever we read, no, it should be retained, it should be reproducible? Honestly, I will tell you, there is one tonic. The name of the tonic is, you can't get in any medical store. It is interest. You should develop interest in that subject. Honestly, I will tell you, if some subject is very difficult, keep reading, spending more time for that particular. Ultimately, it is interest, ma. Many of these children, you must see them on a college day, what kind of shows they give. Their talent you must appreciate. They reproduce the dialogues of their heroes. Why can't they reproduce the sentences by a teacher like you? It is only interest, ma. And I tell you, I come from a village background. I have studied up to 10th standard. Today, I'm an internationally famous surgeon. I'm a popular teacher, all because of my interest in my studies, my work. Work is worship. Kayakave Kailasa. Basavanna said this, ma. Anybody, a student's job is to love his subject, love his teachers, love his profession, love his college. Always, whichever college I go, no, I tell one thing. For every child, I tell them, look here, boy, you think you are the best. You should always think, I am the best. My parents are the best. My teachers are the best. My institution is the best. That student will definitely do well. All those students who are listening to me, they really, please, from today, you should think that you are the best. You are better than anybody around you. And your parent, even if he is an auto driver, my parents were illiterates. My father, second standard, my mom, a bit too. Today, I am an internationally famous teacher. I can give a talk in London University. See, that is because of my interest. All of you have got that virtue and capacity. Please listen to me.
Thank you, sir. So there are a couple of other questions.
Yeah.
The
Sir.
next one is, children are not included for COVID-19 vaccines. Please advise.
Actually, they should have been included. Unfortunately, this vaccine, no, when they prepared, any vaccine to come to clinical use, it has to undergo 4 trials, 1 animal trial, 3 human trial. It takes time. A lot of money is involved. Many international companies. Unfortunately, when they started this Covishield, Covaxin, they included only people above 18 years. Below that, they were not included. And after some time, some of the European countries, they started this trial on children also. They should have done this, because this COVID virus is a upper respiratory virus that can affect any age, particularly children. Their immunity is low. That's what initially we said. Children and elderly, they have got low immunity. They should have thought about it in the beginning only. They should have included children also. Of course, today, the study is going on. Trial is going on. I think probably another few months, we may get vaccine for children also.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question. How can we identify the difference between heart attack and gas trouble?
A very lovely question. I'm a surgical gastroenterologist. See, many people, unfortunately, heart attack, any chest pain on the left side, refer to neck, refer to left shoulder. Always we consider as it's a heart problem. See, acidity, you will have some kind of a burning sensation in the upper abdomen, you get some kind of a chest pain. So I have seen a patient, 39-year-old teacher coming from Vijayapura to my nursing home. See, he complains of gastritis. Looking at his face, his perspiration on the forehead, his pulse rate, and his agony. Definitely a good doctor can make out whether this is a heart attack or a gastritis. Age is not important. Earlier days, we used to think elderly people used to get, today we are seeing 24-year-old youth getting a heart attack. But the best way to rule out is not just treating them like gastritis. Kindly get one at least ECG, which is available everywhere today. So one electrocardiogram will rule out whether it's simple gastritis. Only thing I request the common people, don't make a self-diagnosis. Don't keep on swallowing a pill, ranitidine, and please, particularly severe heart attacks are always very constricting, more severe. Gastritis is something like a burning sensation. So both can be mistaken, but the best way to rule out is an ECG.
So for a layman, what should be the first aid, sir?
They should go to a doctor, no doubt. And the concerned family doctor or a physician treating him, you should advise him to go to a place where at least he can get a ECG.
Okay.
Another important thing, these youngsters, kindly, there is a condition called cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is different from heart attack. Cardiac arrest, if you slap somebody on their cheek, they may die instantaneously. That is called cardiac arrest. Or you kick him on his scrotum, testicle, or if you squeeze his testicle, he may have a cardiac arrest. This is because a healthy heart can suddenly stop because of this pain, or any bad news, suddenly heart can stop. That is because there is a nerve called vagus nerve that comes from the brain. It supplies your cheek, it supplies your chest, it supplies your heart, it goes up to the testicle. So anything that one slap on the cheek, he can have a cardiac arrest. A healthy heart can stop and he can die. So I sincerely request, even for fun, kindly don't snap or don't play with anybody.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question from Dr. Pradeep Kumar. Sir, what are the main things to follow to overcome depression?
Oh, anyway, actually, I'm not a psychiatrist, but still I can answer. It's a positive attitude, sir. Positive thinking. Always these depressions, no, it should be counseled, sir. I always say, at least many people, they think if we refer them to a psychiatrist, they think only mad people should go to psychiatrist. No, it's not true. Any psychological, it is something like I treat pain, abdomen, appendicitis. They treat your mental problems like that only. You should go to a psychiatrist first. Second one, in generally, you must have such an attitude. And Kannadadalli ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತೀನಿ, the sky will not fall. Akasha kalichi bೀಳಲ್ಲ. By chance, if it falls, no, it will fall on Siddaramaya's head also. That should be your attitude. That's how anybody should live. And always, that is the best way to live.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So any other questions? Okay. So with the interest of the time, I think we can wind up the question answer sessions. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for all your time and sharing your immense knowledge.
Very nice of you, ma. I don't know, kindly you must excuse me. I'm a regular speaker, impromptu extempore speaker. Without preparation, I give a speech. I don't know, I felt little difficult topic for me, but my job was made easy by Sudarshan. Anyway, I don't know whether I have done justice to my job or not. Kindly, if I have not done, kindly excuse me.
Definitely, you have done the best out of the seminar thing, sir. Data properly analyzed, we get the knowledge, and implementing right knowledge at right time is wisdom. Dr. Anjanappa sir has shared all his knowledge with us today. It's left up to us how well we use it. You have made us more knowledgeable in this session, sir. Thank you so much. May I now request Major Raghavendra sir to have the presidential remarks.
Thank you so much, Smita ma'am. Sir, on behalf of principal, I'll be taking a note of this presidential address today. Though not, I'll be able to do the justification the way our principal would have done this for this spectacular event. I will still try my best and do it. If one die, it's a loss. If 2 to 3 people die, it's a sympathy. If 10 and more die, then it's a statistics in this country. This is how death is calculated. Very way back in 6th standard, I studied the Charles Darwin's theory of survival for the fittest. Maybe I was too young to understand at that time. Maybe the life is teaching everyone what's actually a survival theory is all about. Maybe it takes for the human to evolve himself and to understand his existence and coexistence. Maybe this is how the life has planned for everyone of us. More importantly, for every mother today, she would be in a shock. Who is to tell her kiddo, you would achieve nothing when you're lying on the bed. But today things have changed. Maybe they would be lying on the bed and we would be achieving stars. And maybe to counter it on a humor note, as Dr. Anjanappa sir said, the less you exercise, maybe the buttons of your shirt will socially distance themselves. And if at all, maybe a patient doesn't understand a corona joke, it is just because he is a patient. Maybe in the hearing goes. So, likewise, there's a way, sir, that what you have taught today and what you have preached today and what you have highlighted today is a great takeaway home for each and every youth of this nation. Reason is, I was very young when I understood what is stress. When a 7.62 mm bullet whistled just 1 inch left of my ear, that was a stress, and that was a whistling stress. And when I could witness the martyrs' bodies along with you and still stay composed and fight battle for the nation, and for that individual who would not think of you even once while having his dinner, that somebody sacrificed his life for him and he is living his happy life. I never understood that I was handling stress. With the dead bodies together, fighting for the battle, injured, but the mission was more important. Never understood this is all stress. Just because of one reason, sir, the way you said. I was passionate about my profession. So, I think passion leads and kills all your fear. Maybe life, maybe challenges, maybe anything that comes your way in a negative manner. The optimistic approach for anything in your life would actually suffice a new path of wisdom, a new path of success, a new path of achievement, a new accomplishment of life would actually pave you through different milestones of life. And life is very beautiful, sir, as you said. It's all how you take it and how you make it and how you accept the life as it comes. Just hug your life with the warm feelings and accept the way it is. Be prepared, be vigilant, because you are not going to change much, but only your attitude would determine what you are. And thanks for this wonderful takeaway home points from you, sir, where many of the youth would actually, accomplish it in their lives. And I also believe that the education system in this country needs a great change. It is rightly said, if you have to ruin a nation, please ruin the education system of the country. Maybe all the stress factors we have understood only because of the education system in this country. Otherwise, there is no stress in this country which exists. When it comes to education, the stress starts. Starting from the parent, or starting to a teacher, or maybe the student himself. Everybody is going through stress. I never experienced this kind of an, drop and pick up of parents to the schools, which happens nowadays. So the drop and pick up system, which has been evolved by the parents whose parents never dropped them to the school. So this is a policy which has been added, according to which comes free of cost in the education policy. So maybe there are many things where a child is not left to grow as an individual. Parents are making their children's life more easier for the life's difficulties. It is also a message to be taken by the parents. They need to prepare their children for the difficult roads, but not to make the roads smoother for them. Having said this, it was a great learning today, sir, from your valuable time that you have shared your thoughts. I think the youth of this country would be benefited. The well-beingness is not only mental, it's also physical. They're both sides of the same coin. I mean to say both sides of the same coin, where everybody needs to understand that it's also mental health, the physical health that goes hand in hand. Optimism in life, positivity in life, the right approach in life, looking towards the better side of life, and accepting the challenges the way it is, and standing upright in life for everything that comes your way with a smile, with an added humor by your talk, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time, sir. I also take this opportunity to thank our beloved Dr. Sudarshan, sir, for his valuable time and his valuable points, what you shared today. I think many such more sessions would we would carry on, sir, so that maybe, percentage of youth who would actually be the future of this nation, who are going to lead this nation from the front, would make a great difference to this nation by staying positive and having a positive attitude about. Thank you for your wonderful time, sir. Thank you once again.
Fantastic, sir. I'm extremely happy to listen to your talk. It's very lovely. Lack of exercise, apple belly, longer the belt, shorter the life. Lovely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Major Sir. It was a very spiritful remarks. Thank you for all your kind words. Now may I request Dr. Mallesh Yan, Conveyor and Assistant Director of Physical Education, RV College of Engineering, Bengaluru, to give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam. Good evening, everybody. Respected beloved Principal, Dr. K. Subramanian sir, our most valued invited guest, Dr. T.H. Anjanappa sir. At the outset, on behalf of Sports Department, I would like to thanks RSST to permission to organize this seminar. First of all, I would like to thank our beloved Principal, Dr. K. Subramanian sir, RV College of Engineering, for their support and encouragement. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation and gratitude for our beloved Dr. B.G. Sudarshan sir, Associate Professor and Medical Officer, RV College of Engineering, for his keynote address. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. T.H. Anjanappa sir, Surgical Gastroenterologist, General Surgeon, Bangalore. I wanted to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. T.H. Anjanappa sir for the wonderful presentation in this program. Sir, thank you. I thank you, our team of advisors, for their magnanimity in guiding us. I would like to thank Major Ravindra C., Senior Manager, RV College of Engineering, Sports Committee members, all other teaching and non-teaching staff, and department colleagues for coordinating this program. I also extend my thanks to Mrs. Meenakshi Mutalik Desai, Assistant Director of Physical Education, and the Organizing Secretary for the National Virtual Seminar, for their enormous cooperation in this organization for this event. I would like to thank to all the participants for registering and participating in the International Virtual Seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of the entire team of RV College of Engineering, I wanted to state that we are the most grateful to all the speakers for the event. We thank you for being with us. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you very much to one and all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So thanks for active participation, everyone. Jai Hind.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
Lovely, sir.